Und heute haben wir ein kleines Thema wegen die DCS Virtualisierung. So, geben wir ein paar Minuten für alle noch zu starten, weil das Freitag ist und ein frühes Morgen für jemanden. Leider, ich muss heute die ganze Präsentation auf Englisch führen, weil mein Deutsch ist noch zu schlecht ist. Ich hoffe, das wird passend für alle. Aber wenn Sie haben Fragen und so, dann Sie können auch gerne auf Deutsch stellen. So, geben wir ein paar Minuten, dann fangen wir an. So. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Just once more time. So I'm Romunas Kubilius from Huawei, and I will be showing a little bit more about our full stack data center solution, and also we will go into some technical details or some demonstration of the virtualization solution itself. So Huawei data center solution, it's nothing new in this world, but we will not be openly presenting it until middle of last year in Europe, and that is why we are here today. The full stack solution is our name, or so DCS is the name, and it means that we can provide the whole data center from us, so from the Huawei. The whole data center solution, meaning the unified management, virtualization, automation tools, cloud interconnection, also the whole hardware, including the storage, network, and the backup devices as well. If you go the full data center solution from us, we can introduce some really new and advanced functionalities such as NVMe over fabrics, which reduces the latency for the data processors, or implement our anti-ransomware protection, which gives very high detection ratios for your virtual machines and for your applications as well. Besides that, the whole active-active implementation from with integration with our storage systems provide seamless failovers in seconds without any interruptions for your applications as well. So Huawei DCS, it's the name for the whole data center solution, but today we will speak also more about the virtualization layer itself, which is individual component from the DCS. How it looks like, what we have been bringing and what we have been developing over the last years as the DCS part. It started integration and building all around the virtualization layer. At first, we had just our virtualization solution, and then we started to provide additional functionalities and additional benefits to our users. One of the recent ones is, of course, the AI solution. So we have been building and implementing the full stack AI solution, providing the automated deployments, automated managements, and user configurations, and whole resource orchestration for the AI. DCS is also part of our full stack offering. Whole Huawei cloud stack is public cloud, and also private cloud solutions are based on the DCS. So our customers across the world and our cloud offerings across the world been running DCS for many years already. And with you see the constant new deployments and new features bringing into market with quite heavy development and heavy research from our side. And the last part of the DCS, which we will be focusing more today, because I think that's the most interesting for many of you as the alternative to other virtualization solutions, is our virtualization stack. which is of course fundamental stack of our cloud offering and full data center solution. But it's been built initially as this standalone product, as the hardware virtualization. And today we will look more into details about the virtualization solution itself. The part of the DCS, so it looks quite full and maybe a little bit overwhelming, but the whole DCS is just built up for many components such as the DME, our product, which can also be a separate product, but is also integrated in the DCS, which provide us end-to-end resource provisioning, unified management for the whole stack, so virtualization, storage, networking. Also, we can manage other virtualization solutions like VMware from it as well. And it gives like the multi-tenancy or the real cloud feeling. Would it be on-premises or in the cloud? The DME is part of the DCS solutions. If you go lower in the service components, you have the AI optimized products, AI deployment, and the biggest part is the vSphere virtualization platform, which we will speak about more today. Besides that, backup integration with the Huawei solution, disaster recovery part, and the whole compute storage network backup solutions, which are part of our full stack offering. So just a short introduction of the DCS. Do not have fear. We will speak about virtualization in a moment, which is the big part of it itself. So Huawei virtualization solution, it's called Fusion Compute, and it's not new solution. We have been having it for years, and since 2019, we started using the KVM as underlying technology, as previously we used Xen. So, and we built our solution based on the KVM and been offering it commercially 7 years at least. Here on the right side, you see a little bit about the implementations and new functionalities which we are bringing every year for the solution. And as you can see, we usually have 2 to 3 releases every year of the major versions, which brings new functionality. The latest one, 8.8, which was released just a couple months back, brings us solutions like multipathing, self-healing, our VIMs, so our file system reliability enhancements, upgrade enhancements, and other performance-based functionalities as well. So Fusion Compute is virtualization solution from the Huawei itself, which is part of the DCS full stack offering as well. What it looks like on the feature side. So I prepared a small slide which just shows on the high level the functionalities which we can deliver with our virtualization solution. We will not go into details, just I want to highlight some of them, such as cloning, DRS, so dynamic resource scheduling, virtual GPUs, so GPUs pass-through, GPUs virtualization, memory overcommitment, VM migration, so to speak, vMotion, HA, high availability solutions, storage migration, online expansions, security settings as the TPM module or virtualized TPM module, disaster recovery solutions such as replications, active-active solution when integrated with the Huawei storage. So as you see from the high-level feature list, we are very at a similar level as the market leader. Of course, some functionalities different and some implementations different because it's based on the KVM solution and the whole architecture is also different from that, but you will see it's also different and the same. So same, but different. Ecosystem, so very important part as well for our solution. We can be working very hard now to bring it to the European market. So we did a lot of compatibility testing and doing also a lot of compatibility testings every day. Our R&D team is working on that. So we provide significant number or support, or it has been tested and it has drivers and is compatible with many server models. We support very many operating systems types, storage devices, and other software device solutions as well. So our virtualization solution is also hardware agnostic. So it means it can run on any third-party hardware, not only the Huawei itself, but of course, as the vendor, we recommended the Huawei hardware products as well for the solution. How it looks like on the architecture. So it's a little bit different and similar to the market leader VMware, so to say. So I will compare everything to the VMware because the majority of you, I'm guaranteed you know the solution, so it will be easier to understand. So the Fusion Compute, it's just a name, it's like the vSphere, and it has the components underneath. The very first component and one of the most important one is the VRM. So Virtual Resource Management. It's so equivalent to the vCenter. So we have the graphical user interface, we log into it, we manage virtual machines, we do all the provisionings, also automate and configure. And the CNA is Compute Node Agent, which is the equivalent to the ES6. We install the CNA on top of the physical server, and it's our hypervisor by itself. So two main components of the Fusion Compute, so Virtual Resource Management and the CNA as well. We will see later in the demonstration how each of them looks like, so it will be easy to remember. So main components of the Fusion Compute. A little bit about the functionality. So everyone's been using the virtualization solutions for many years, so 10, 15 years. And of course, we got used to some of the features, especially the resource optimization features. So our solution as well has the many hardware sharing and optimization features as well. So here are only the some of them, the major ones. Of course, it's not everything, but I wouldn't be able to fit in the short webinar the all functionalities. But the main of the features like NUM optimization. So placement of the virtual machine. So placing a very big virtual machine, the virtualization solution tries to keep it within the same NUMA unit so that there will be no cross CPU communication and we will not lose the performance. Huge page memory in our solution is available and configurable per virtual machine. So we can decide to enable the huge page memory for virtual machine, giving the bigger memory pages, thus minimizing the overhead of the CPU while going and asking to the memory access from the virtual machine itself. Memory overcommitment, memory ballooning, memory sharing, all the functionalities here as well implemented to provide the highest virtual machine density and to utilize the hardware resources in the most optimal way as possible. GPU pass-through, so GPU pass-through or GPU virtualizations for the virtual machines, for the 3D applications, for other AI, for example, which is very popular lately, implementations. Containers, our solution also can have the graphical user interface for the containers themselves, so we can manage container deployment, Kubernetes cluster underneath, we can upgrade the cluster, manage the pods, network, images, everything from the same interface as your virtual machines as well. Resource scheduling, so automatic scheduling, load balancing between the nodes, migration between the servers, everything to ease the life and to optimize the resources in your data center. DRX, so CPU memory hot add, you also support the auto growth if needed, so that the virtual machine can scale up automatically if the resources being needed for the virtual machine. Auto adjustment of NUMA technology, it automatically looks looks which cores are not being used, so places virtual machine on the cores automatically and not only manually, which then you need to adjust each time manually itself. So as you see, there are very many features, and some of them, of course, are familiar to you, but our solution is also built that way that if you migrate from the other virtualization solutions, you do not need more hardware resources. So the CPU and memory resources, we can say it's one-to-one to your previous virtualization solution. So all the overcommitment and sharing technologies are in place here as well. Speaking about the disks and the storage part of the virtualization of the Fusion Compute. So the Fusion Compute has its own file system. Yes? So it's very similar from the high level as the data stores on the VMware. You will see also we have the similar naming functionality, but the file system itself is called VIMS, and we can provision any block device to the Fusion Compute, would it be the iSCSI or Fiber Channel or other block technologies, and we then create our own file system. The file system has the locking mechanisms, it understands the clustering, so it's clustered file system also, and it's shared between multiple physical hosts. So you can vMotion your virtual machines, so server vMotion, or also use the then provisioning or other technologies for the disk placement here as well. So just to know, we have our own file system optimized for the virtualization, and it's implemented itself. As for virtual machines itself, we provide many technologies as part of our full stack data center for the virtual machine protection. So we will go into high level, we will not go deeper for this, but technologies such as the virtualization snapshots, so virtual machine consistent snapshots, memory snapshots, built-in backup as part as the full stack data center solution, so our DCS, all-in-one backup. So we can do the backup of the virtual machines, we can do the instant restore, we can do synthetic full backup, have integrated worm and integrated ransomware protection. So technologies like that. Cloud-based backup. As part of the DCS, we can move the virtual machines back to the cloud. Device level reliability, active data center, active storage devices to migrate to virtualization and database. Virtualization HA, so high availability functionalities, high availability for the virtual machine, high availability for the server, high availability for the data store, and implemented there as well. And the last, we also support the other types of replications, such as asynchronous for active standby data centers as well. So as you might see, the solution is very possible, very, how to say, has many functionalities. It has the full ecosystem built about it with the all enterprise-ready functionalities here as well. So highest availability aside of the performance as well. Ransomware is also a very big topic over the last years. Our DCS or full stack solution also provides the integrated ransomware for your virtual environment. It works in cooperation with the storage devices, and it has the real-time analysis of the ransomware. So if the attack happens, you will be immediately notified and the resources will be protected with additional secure snapshots. So secure means they are immutable or undeletable snapshots to protect further loss of the data as well. The same anti-ransomware solution is implemented in the backup technology as well. So if you do the backup of your virtual machines, the images get scanned on the backup device. And if there are any abnormalities or any attacks, you will get notified and you will know that the attack is happening or that this virtual machine has been corrupted or changed here as well. So we call it the last level of defense for your data center, because if the attack already happens on your data, the attacker passed through all the other layers of defense already. So it's the last defense on the virtualization, backup, and storage devices as well, integrated. Inter-site reliability, HA functionality, snapshots functionalities. So those are very important for day-to-day operations. So physical failures happen. So servers fail, disks fail, CPUs fail, and the HA is very important. I know you're all used to using it day to day. You do not see your environment without these functionalities. That's why I'm just saying and confirming that we have this functionality implemented as well in our virtualization solution. Snapshots for backup. So backup software takes the snapshots of virtualization, then moves the data. Application consistent snapshots as well for your application consistency, and the restores. Active is very big story in the Huawei, very important functionality. Very many of our customer uses the active, which is being implemented on our storage system, but the virtualization solution supports this one as well. So if one device fails, if data center fails, you have seamless failover, your applications are not interrupted, your services are running, and your customers are happy as well. DME, part of the DCS full stack offering, it provides end-to-end full management of the whole data center stack. So virtual machines, server storage, switches, also provides resource orchestration and scheduling, part of the automation part, multi-tenancy part, also troubleshooting tools, performance troubleshooting, configuration troubleshooting is implemented as well. Additionally, we can support, for example, VMware vSphere, so you can manage your existing VMware environment and the new Fusion Compute environment. Would it be only for the time of the migration or also for the full time? So speaking about the migration, we provide the migration services. We have the migration tools, which do the agent-free migration from the virtualization. So same from the VMware. It's a graphical implementation. It pre-creates the migration machines, does the migration. Just one thing what to mention, it requires a little bit of downtime for the last migration. For those who are familiar with the rsync and robocopy file migrations, this operates very similar. First, it pre-creates the target virtual machine, then takes the snapshot of the source machine, moves the data to the target machine. So that's initial synchronization, which is online. So your original virtual machine stays online for this part. You need a small downtime when you need the last synchronization of the last data. So then you stop your original virtual machine, initiate the last incremental synchronization. After this incremental synchronization is over, then you can start your new already migrated virtual machine on our solution as well. So migration services, migration teams also here in Germany as well. One of the last, so it's not a new solution, and our customer base is very big across whole of the world. Of course, maybe for you it's more important the customers in Germany, which we have, but also customers in Europe, France, Switzerland, and other countries. It's there as well implemented. So the install base is there. We have a lot of customers, a lot of feedback on the new features, new requirements. Solution is constantly growing, constantly being updated and improved thanks to our customers. Yes. So as one of the customers here, just a short reference case in Switzerland, Naveum as the MSP, so service provider, has fully migrated to the DCS from the VMware. Of course, their biggest driver was the licensing. We are very unhappy with what the Broadcom did, what they changed to their customers. They were looking for the solutions. We started up speaking about the virtualization about what they would expect from the new data center. We ended up going not only with the virtualization, but with the full stack data center solution, which included as well as our storage devices with implementation with the active data migration and also the backup there as well. So the customer reduced the total costs. They have improved the automation part, and they also utilize fully the high availability functionalities of our solution as well. So I'm finished with the slides here as well. So now we will switch to I think the more interesting part, at least for me, the demonstration part. So Fusion Compute. So what you see here is just the landing page or the home page of our management GUI, so of our virtualization solution. So here it's a short overview: how many hosts, how many virtual machines, what are the resources, data stores, DVS switches. I always like very much to start from this page, the configuration wizard, because it just reflects how simple and similar it is to the other market leader for the virtualization. I'm very glad our engineers took it, because previously, like some 4 years ago, the management was a little bit more complicated than it is now, and now it's been improved and it's way easier. And as you see, the configuration flow is very similar. So you create the host, add the host to the cluster, add the storage resources, storage devices, and create data stores. Yeah? Sounds familiar, right? Create DVS. DVS is our distributed virtual switch. So we create distributed virtual switch, add uplinks, so physical uplinks from the host, create the port groups, and then give the port groups to the virtual machines. And then we create the virtual machines with all these parameters configured. This is what we will do in a moment. Resource pool. As the whole management, so this is where you spend like 90% of the time doing the configuration, changing the configuration, and doing the virtual machines. Here we have just the one cluster in my lab. Yeah, my lab, company's lab, not my lab. So management cluster with all the resources, and here we see 3 nodes with the virtual machines respectively. So the CNA is the compute node agent. So it's the hypervisor equivalent to DSX, which is being installed on the physical host itself. So part of the architecture. VRM, Virtual Resource Manager, it's the management, so equivalent to the vCenter. So here, for example, you see the IP, which I'm accessing at the moment as well to manage it. So we call it's the floating IP. So it's actually the cluster of two. So usually we recommend deployment of the two management virtual machines, which form a cluster and allows the failover when needed. So the virtual IP will move between the virtual machines for the high availability. So let's go quick into some configuration options. On the cluster, the most important settings and parameters are, of course, the high availability implementation. So what happens if the host fails? Yeah, we do the HA, the failover. What happens if the data store is faulty, not reachable? What happens if the virtual machine is faulty? So if the virtual machine is stuck or frozen, we also have the tools installed the virtual machines, which senses that the virtual machine is not responding, for example. So other big part of the cluster management is, of course, the DRS. So DRS as resource scheduling. So it can be automatic or manual based on CPU and memory. A couple of parameters: when we should move, is it the time when we cannot move? Do we want to encrypt the virtual machine migration channel? Yes or no? A couple of settings on the DRS. Which hosts participate in the feature? Do you want to group the virtual machines? And if we group the virtual machines, what are the rules? Do you want to keep them together? Do you want to separate? Do we want to bind so that the virtual machine will not be moved, for example, for any case? Or do we want to create a balancing of the virtual machines as well, so that they will be balanced across our hosts? And then we have the overview of the hosts, virtual machines, and the data stores as well. So the data stores are the same. So like I mentioned, we have our own file system, and we support almost all protocols or all storage protocols here as well. So just a quick overview. So fiber channel, of course. IPSAN stands for the iSCSI or our NVMe over Fabric. Local disk, NAS storage means NFS. So it can also be an NFS data store. Scale-out block storage, this is the integration with the Huawei scale-out storage, and eVolumes equivalent to the vVolume. This is also integration with the Huawei storage. But besides the Huawei storage, we support, like you see, industry standard protocols, fiber channel, iSCSI, NFS for your data center solution. Once we have the data stores, let's quickly jump to data stores, storage. We can build a cluster of the data store. We see the devices. So would it be a local disk, fiber channel, which is configured for this cluster? So availability, capacity, hardware acceleration, of course. Storage resources. Storage resources can be the iSCSI initiator or NFS mount point here as well. This part. So for the data stores, it's quite simple. You do not need to change your habits or your way of provisioning, storage provisioning to support our virtualization solution. Then later we see the data stores. Overview. Okay, this is storage pool. Is the resource scheduling? What are the alarms? What are the capacities? What is the allocated capacities? Which virtual machine run? Which virtual machine disks we have. So here we should have more. Yes. So more disks. We see configuration type, tick provisioned, unprovisioned, and also we can access the files. So as you see, there are some ISO images uploaded as well to the data store, which can be later used for the virtual machine implementation, or also we see which virtual machines they are mounted to as the part of the data stores. So real quick overview on the storage. Network. On the network, we operate on the DVS, so distributed virtual switches, can add uplinks, add the VLANs, change the MTU, message transfer units, and then we assign the uplinks from the devices. Would it be the aggregates, or LACPs, or individual physical ports? If you want aggregates, we also support multiple of load balancing technologies, so MAC-based, IP-based balancing, and also the round-robin technologies for the LACP channel. So once we have the DVS, so the switch, then we create the port groups, some security settings, and we assign the VLANs as well if required. Single VLANs, multiple VLANs, cascaded VLANs for your virtual machine access. Once we have the port groups, then we add them to the virtual machines itself. Okay, so that was a real quick overview on the networking. The physical hosts, let's go through some configuration on the physical host. Overview of the information, what is important, IP access, is the failover host, what is tap time, what are the resource utilization of the host itself, what is the NUMA allocation, so CPU cores allocation of the physical host. So we have the physical host. Let's jump straight to the configuration. In the familiar place, you will see the information of the storage adapters. So fiber channel, iSCSI adapters, storage resources, that would be the iSCSI initiators and NVMe initiators, and then the disks themselves. Just thing to mention, the multipathing, it's implemented in the underlying layer in the hypervisor itself, in the operating system. So there is nothing to configure on the GUI here as well. It's simply just modifying the multipath.conf file with the vendor recommended multipathing configuration. So here we see the paths of the host and also the capacity and also the scan button to rescan for the new devices as well. Network, the physical NICs of the host, aggregation ports or channel ports. Yeah. What is the speed? What is the transmission? What is the binding mode? So LACP policy. So logical interfaces, those are the same or similar function as the VM kernel adapters. So here we can add the additional adapter, for example, for vMotion traffic, or change data traffic for the SAN heartbeat as well. So this is the VM kernel adapter as well. Here we configure and add the ports for the iSCSI, for example, or Rocky network. So Rocky is the Huawei preferred lower latency technology and the fast technology for the performance one. So storage ports, a little bit on the host configuration itself. So overview is the huge page memory enabled parameters like time synchronization, limiting of the overcommitment. So by default, 0 means it's unlimited. So overcommitment ratio, 0 indicates that it's not limited, but we can also put the top limit for the overcommitment as well. So real quick overview on the physical host. And I think the last part and the most interesting part is our virtual machines. Yes. So how we do create the virtual machines? Yeah, sure. We can use this button here, but I think everyone is more used to just doing the right click on the host or on the cluster. And here we have the parameters such as the host power management or the maintenance mode or some batch operations for the host itself. Virtual machine creation. So if you haven't migrated, you want to create a virtual machine, you have a couple options. You can create from zero, deploy using a template, clone from existing virtual machine, import, and also import we support, for example, OVF template and some other files which can be imported. Register existing one from the data store, or so on. Let's go through the settings and parameters of the virtual machine creation. Okay, so we are not very picky about the name. Where will the virtual machine will be placed, which site, which folder, on which CPU resources it will be placed. Do you want to place it on this specific one, or we place it for the cluster? If we place on the specific one, we have the option to bind it, so that the virtual machine will not be migrated by the DRS later on. Auto start, and then we choose the OS type. So OS type is, as you know, is important because it will mount the tools based on the OS type. So for Windows, for example, we support the latest one already, but we also support like the old versions like 2003 as well. From the Windows. From the Linux, the story is very similar. We have hundreds of supported operating systems and the tools and the virtual machine tools ready for it. Okay, let's not overthink it. So data stores, then the next step is we choose a data store, or we have a wizard to create a new data store if new disks are available, unconfigured, unprovisioned disks. And virtual machine configuration. So the most important part of the virtual machine, Sure. So first we start with the CPU. How many cores are they binded to the physical cores? How many cores per socket? Quotas, reservation limits, parameters for the virtual machines. Memory, same story with the memory. How big are we using the quota? Huge page memory, enabled, disabled, reservations limit disks. Disk provisioning, which data store, which disk mode. So are we sharing a disk mode? Is it thin provisioned? Is it thick provisioned as the disks? Network interface, we select which management switch it will be assigned to. Some parameters on the network card. Graphic card is required when we use the virtual access or remote access and we want to have the higher resolutions such as 4K, then we need to assign a little bit more virtual graphics memory to it. CD-ROM drive, so again, mounting the ISO files, such as we are used to doing it for 15 years or so. Attach which file from which data store, or do I want to upload as well from the given wizard here as well. Floppy drive basically says the Windows version automatically match. So if you're installing now the Windows 2022, it will automatically match to the VMware tools, virtual machine tools as 2022 as well. Additionally, we support adding the USB devices. Okay, I have none of the server. Pass-through devices. So if you would have some NVMe disks or the GPUs, if you want to pass through, or if you want a GPU virtualization, you have the GPU resource group for GPU virtualization. But it goes more into virtual machine parameters and the BIOS options, boot devices, secure NUMA placement, time synchronization, VNC. I will show you later. We will use VNC for the remote access, but here you can choose the keyboard also as the German keyboard when adding the passwords or entering the passwords over the remote console for the virtual machine. Okay. Configure virtual machine, so all the parameters. If I would click next, it will create the virtual machine, but now I have a bit too many of them for the test purposes, so let's use the existing one. And I can show you the parameters on the virtual machine later on. So Windows. Okay, so here on the left side, we see the virtual machines. So let's start some test machine. See, it gives us some information. So CPU architecture, tools not running as the virtual machine not started. What is the IP address, initial password, where it's based, which data store, which NICs, does it have any GPUs, and the resource utilization. Of course, it's powered off. It was powered off. So now it's starting. You see the virtual machine placement automatic. So it plays now under the host 3. And we use the VNC, so internal integrated VNC for virtual machine access by itself. So I quite like it. It's very responsive. And then we have access to the virtual machine. We can paste the clipboard or change some display parameters such as full screen or sharing view, or also the scaling windows. Yes, sure. The virtual machine itself, once we have the virtual machine, we can change its hardware parameters as well under the configuration. We can also change the network, for example, network configuration over the GUI once the tools are installed. So yeah, we can change the IPs, add the configuration, remove the configuration, have some conflict checks integrated as well. But we also support, so like, for example, the CPU and memory hot add. So a couple of functionalities go through. So yep, go away. So for example, now the virtual machine has 20 gigabytes of RAM, and I just add one more. Here we can see the recent tasks, so the configuration, modify, who did the operation, user modified. So I modified the virtual machine. If I close it, system, yeah, so 21 gigabytes. So such functionality as the hot add and are also implemented. If you want to change the virtual machine parameters such as BIOS or add the secure boot, add the security parameters, memory, CPU, hot add, clusters, VNC, keyboard, they can be changed from this GUI. So since I don't have much time left, let's go a couple more important functions, such as the snapshots. Yes, so snapshot consistency, memory consistency of the virtual machine are implemented, so which are also being used for the backup solutions later on. vMotion, I think the vMotion, or in our terms as migrate, are very important. It's very important function for everyday day-to-day management. So here we have a couple of parameters. So change compute resources, change data store. So Sun vMotion, change compute resources and data store both. And migrate to the new site, but I have the VTPM enabled. I cannot migrate to another cluster for this virtual machine. Just real quick in the parameters, prioritize migration services, migration channel encryption. So software encryption of the migration channel if needed. Where I want to migrate, some checks. Do I want to bind it after migration? Confirm. Okay, go. Tasks submitted. Migrate to migration is running. Of course, it's online for the SAN and online for the virtual machine migrations there as well. Okay, real quick, a little bit about the cluster management, which is also very important day-to-day management. So all alarms and events. So yeah. Data store usage exceeds the configured threshold. Which data store? What is the alarm? What is the history for this data store? I can disable if needed. Events, who did what happened on the cluster? Yeah, failed to change the IP, automatic issue might need to be looked at. Performance overview for the cluster, for the virtual machine, for the host, some KPI metrics, parameters, memory, CPU usage. Daily management integrations. We have, for example, integrated packet capture, so for troubleshooting resources. As well, if you needed to go to the support organization or to get the logs for the support organization. So real quick about the support. Support is full, the Huawei support. We have the regional center for Europe in Romania, 24/7 hours in Romania. No follow the sun, no task switching, no other. So your data stays in Romania, log stays in Romania, and you get your support from there as well. Network dialing test, for example, we can do the ping or TCP check between the virtual machine, different adapters, to see if the network is configured correctly. Can we do it? Or between the external IPs as well for the network connection. Container, as I mentioned, we have integrated container management. So here we can manage and deploy our clusters, do the namespace, nodes, storage classes, can manage, edit, edit the pods, virtual machine, not the virtual machines, but the containers, container images, add the repositories, create repositories. So full integrated container management inside the GUI. If we want to go to the application management page, here we can manage the application templates, workloads, deployments, pods, network, storage, config maps, secrets, and all the other functions from the container world as well. So just to show the full integration of the containers. The last is the system management. So here we have the full task center, which user did what. So is it was the system or me admin migrated the virtual machine, modified the virtual machine. Yeah. Operational log, which user logged in from where, when. Permission management, so we have the role-based permission management. It also can be integrated with the domain management. Oh, yeah, with the domain for user authentication, and it's based on the roles. The roles are quite flexible. So here I have the test role, which we then further assign to the user. And I, for example, log in and say, yeah, you cannot do the alarm management anymore and monitoring. So, and then the role gets updated with the granted permissions as well. License management. So the licenses, maybe a couple words on the licenses. The licenses are perpetual, so no subscription, no cloud-based access, nothing's needed. You buy the license, you own it. Additionally, you buy the support for 1, 2, 3, 5, what it would be, the requirement years for the license. And the license is actually just 2 levels for virtualization. So it's either virtualization or virtualization and container. So if you have the virtualization license, you have all the functionalities, right? Like Sun vMotion usually is the big topic here as well. And the license is per CPU. So you want to have 128 cores? Yeah, sure, go ahead. We do not mind. So the licenses are per CPU's socket, yes, to be precise, CPU socket. So real quick on the licenses, what is important? Yeah, certification management, NTP, third-party interconnection, so SNMP, syslog, email configuration to send alarms, alerts, etc. here for the tool itself. So I'm coming to the end. I know I pushed a lot of information here in a very short time, but of course, if you are interested more, please contact us or our partners for the more information here as well. Okay, let's look into the questions. So I will stop presenting in a moment, and let's look into the questions as well. So, yep. Full screen sharing. Okay. Good morning. So, server Lenovo. Yes, sure. Lenovo is supported as well. The whole information is we have our online configuration database. So if you need a link, please contact us, and then we can support. We can check, or you can check yourselves what servers are supported. Okay, so virtual GPUs, they are supported already. So vGPUs also from NVIDIA, and very many GPUs, different vGPUs are supported here as well. Okay, planning evolution, part of the, yeah, okay. So you are right. So Leonard had a question about the agentless backup. Yeah, so my slide, it was planning and evolution. So it was part of the planning. Yes, so you are correct. So the 2025 haven't ended yet. So agentless backup is compatible with Veeam, NetBackup, and Commvault. So here you are very correct. At the moment, it's only NetBackup and Commvault. We are working closely with Veeam to provide that Veeam would provide this functionality also to you this year as well. Yes. And so agentless, yeah. Correct. So this is correct. So at the moment, it's only NetBackup and Commvault. We expect Veeam in the near future. Okay, so Citrix, it's actually the other side. It's actually the Citrix doesn't support us. So it's not about that we support the Citrix deployment. It's that the Citrix doesn't support the Fusion compute. Yes, and if you use the vGPU, yeah. Yes, you need the vGPU licensing, of course. Yes, So, does the Commvault will provide a virtual media agent for Fusion Compute? Yes, correct. Commvault has the proxy or virtual media agent for the Fusion Compute as well. Yes. Okay. So, any more questions? Time? If you will think of any questions in the near future or so, please contact us or our partners, and we're sure we will provide more information. And thank you for joining today. So good. I think it was a good start of the Friday. So please enjoy the last day of the weekend and have a good weekend. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye.